Alright, okay, here we go. So I'm doing a quick don't mulch like this video, which will precede the webinar that I'm doing the 24th of June at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via Zoom. You can find that on my Facebook page. So you can see that these trees are over mulched, that you cannot see the flare, the root flare. You can see a discoloration that's already happening from higher mulch in previous years right here. And you can see that the bark patterning has changed, right? So the bark development is already being damaged, and that's a firefly crawling around down there. Can you see him? Yay, hello firefly. So there's also pressure that's being added to the roots. You can see a bulbous formation here. Okay, so that could be decay, disease that's happening as a result of the roots starting to circle. When they circle, you can get, and also just having this thick, wet mulch up against it. All that white stuff there, that's all fungal hyphae. And so some of that may be innocuous and some of it could be pathogenic. But you can get this bulbous or cancerous formation. I don't think this is a cancer here, but I honestly don't know. Alright, so that is a dogwood that is resistant to anthracnose. Over here, we see a tree that has been repeatedly mulched. So this is not fresh mulch on it. This hasn't been applied this year. It was probably applied last season. A little bit of the root flare seems to be exposed. This root looks good. The angle that the mulching is taking place, especially right here, I am certain that there's girdling. Yep. All right, and you can also see a line from previous mulching, and there's undoubtedly a girdled root under here, which I don't have anything to dig it up. Let's see. Ah, here, this one's got a perfect example of the root girdling. So this is, so you can see here, along here, these different like bumps and stuff. So those are actually spaces where there are microscopic pores that are called lenticels, and they are throughout this bark. They're at the root collar zone, so that's the nexus of the root and the trunk, and they're also on the roots. Those are gas exchange sites. This is an aerobic organism. Its cells process energy or respire using oxygen. Aerobic. It's not anaerobic. And so that gas exchange and having access to oxygen, which there's a lot in the soils, the more porous the soils, the more oxygen. So those roots there, these are lateral roots, and in seeking that oxygen, because they've been buried deep in the mulch, they end up circling around the trunk of the tree and literally girdling it off, not unlike having a tourniquet, as I often use that example, on your arm, which chokes off the vascular conduction of your own blood flow or lymphatic flow or both. And so that's what's happening here. Is this tree has been choked off by its own roots, and that results in poor water distribution from tree trunk to canopy, and also nutrient distribution up and down and back and forth. You can see tip dieback already happening. This tree is clearly suffering. So who's managing this park? Who has that contract? And why isn't it me?